Hey guys, Casual Crono here. In this character development series, we are going to cover Shanie Altar. My Shanie Altar is Stellar Awakened. I happen to pull her on her banner, and I have most of her nodes unlocked. So, be aware that if you pulled Shanie Altar recently and she's not Stellar Awakened, keep in mind that mine is. So, might have to tweak a little bit. Anyway, though, let's go over this character. So, this character is a cat lover, hammer, lovesick, cursed, hood, wind, and shade. That said, as far as shade, she only really has one skill: Cling Together. It's preemptive, it's a blunt attack, it reduces speed, but it inflicts rage and it is persistent and ignores target resistance. So if you have an enemy that's not already under her rage influence, this is the skill that you use to basically induce rage. And then you can also gain a damage barrier from it. Otherwise, most of her skills, she has a couple of wind attacks, but most of her skills are kind of designed around her counterattack and beefing up the rest of her party members. So we're going to kind of discuss that now. I do have her Stellar Awakened skill, Toadstreeb. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It's a wind type blunt attack, reduces wind resistance, and it stacks. And as her health gets lower, its power gets better. In Stellar Burst, it gives her a barrier pierce and gives a barrier pierce to the character that has Thorn Wedge. So what is this Thorn Wedge and all this stuff? Well, first things first, let's just kind of show off Shanie and equip her. She's probably best used as a tank, a wind tank at that. She does have the critical guard ability. I'm not sure if it shows in here. Yes, it does, but it doesn't really go into much detail. So what is critical guard? If you've watched my Soira AS video, it pretty much explains the mechanics of critical guard, but what you need to know is that it involves your luck stat, and it involves something that gives you physical critical rating of 100%. Technically any percent, but the bottom line, and I'm going to give her the Void Hammer as an example. It'll take your critical rating, in this case 100%, and then 100% of the time, whatever your luck skill is, it does a calculation and it reduces all damage by that amount. And it caps if you can reach a luck value of 500. At that point, 100% of the time, because that is your critical rating, 100% of the time, you're reducing all damage by 75%. If you had a different weapon, for example, where is my prismatic? If you have a prismatic hammer equipped, which has a 70% critical rating, that means 70% of the time your damage will be reduced by whatever your luck is. That means 30% of the time she takes full damage. So you want to try and get her at 100% physical critical rating. The easiest way to do that is to just equip a weapon that gives 100% critical rating. The other way to do it is to have team members that will give buffs, because if someone else casts a buff that improves your critical rate, then you're fine. But I don't fully trust that. Buffs can be dispelled, buffs can wear out. The Void Hammer, unless an enemy reduces your critical rating, the Void Hammer basically says 100% of the time you're getting damage reduction. And you get a little bit of type attack. You could give her anything that gives her 100%, like the Elpis Hammer, but since she's not really focused on damage quite as much, the Elpis Hammer would be better used for like Ewan or any other hammer damage dealing character. So we're going to give her the Void Hammer. Because her defenses rely on luck, I usually look for armor that improves luck. So the Grace Armlet improves luck and spirit. And if we use the new UI, we can see that her luck jumps from 256 to 281. And actually her physical critical rating goes up a little tiny bit as well. So we are going to equip the Grace Armlet. And then for badges, the most simplest way to improve luck is to give her a luck badge that improves it as much as possible. It's not a bad choice. I sometimes favor, if you have it, the increase stats by 20 badge. It still improves her luck, not quite as much, but also improves her endurance and her spirit, both of which also factor into the damage equation. So here we have 301 luck, thanks to those particular gear choices and the fact that she is level 89. So your luck, if she's only level 80, your luck might be a little bit less. As far as grasta, since she's a tank, I tend to favor anything that gives health. So these have an HP of 300, and then I also tend to favor anything that might give luck, spirit, or endurance. So this particular one gives a spirit of 10. The HP restore gives luck of 5 as well as 300 health. And then power of rebirth, that one, and I believe was it Victory Celebration? Yes. They have a regen and a mana regen. So I like to give my primary tanks something that gives a little bit of mana regen, just in case, the rest of the team gets wiped out and I have to kind of hold out for a little while before I use Tetra to reincarnate my team. So it also is nice that it gives 300 health as well. So each grasta gives 300 health. As far as ores, kind of up to you if you want to go the HP route, if you want to try and boost luck some more. It's whatever you want to do. I tend to favor hit points. If your shadow is 50 or higher, well, higher than 50, then the light shadow HP ore will give you more health. If your shadow is less than 50, then the HP ore gives you more health. And if your shadow is exactly 50, it does not matter. They all give 300 health. So that's kind of how I gear her. So in this case, she has exactly 50 shadows, so it doesn't really matter which ore I use. So I basically have a mixture. Stats badge, Grace Armlet, and Void Hammer. And she has 301 natural luck, and she has decent endurance and spirit, which gives her in the 400s defense and magic defense. And thanks to her levels, she has very, very close to 7,000 health. And my old Soira had, finally I got her true Valor Grasta, and my Soira had like 8,100 health, but for the majority of the game she had around 7,500. And if she seems to get about 50 some health per level, so I can probably get her very close to the same level that Soira was at once she reaches level 100, which will probably be a long time from now. Anyway, that is how I gear her. As long as you focus on luck, you probably can't go wrong. The higher luck better. Remember, it caps at 500. If you get her special Grasta, each one gives 300 health, so if you get her true Grasta, then she gets an extra 900 health, which is awesome, and I think 15 luck. Now that we've covered Critical Guard and her gearing, let's showcase a few of her skills. As far as skills, if you want something to spam as an attack skill, she honestly doesn't have that many choices. She has Plunge, which is a small but hits 3 times, but she takes damage in the process. And she has Cling Together, which is a shade attack. It's large, and it reduces speed and inflicts rage. And if she Stellar Awakens, she has Toadstrib, which is a wind attack, reduces wind resistance, and it stacks. So obviously between those 3 choices, her Stellar Awaken skill is the best option to use if you're spamming like another force gauge. Since it stacks, basically after the third attack of hers, the wind resistance is seriously reduced. For other skills, she does have a few really cool choices. She can give status immunity to all party members, and it's 3 times. She can preemptively deploy a Wind King stance, improve the party's power, intellect, and speed, and critical rate. So if you don't have a weapon that has 100% critical rate, as long as you use this skill, and at least you have to spam it every time she goes like 3 moves, but basically this could replace like a void weapon or an Elpis weapon, something with 100% critical rating. Her kind of level up skill, Dream Love, True Love, and Fated Love, applies Thorn Wedge to the user and a single party member in the front line to the user's right. It applies over critical, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. She gains cover and counterattack, and she gains some resistance. Her counterattack whenever she's hit by a physical or magic attack, so basically just about everything except things like pain or poison damage, stuff like that, she can reduce the enemy's power and intellect, and it stacks as well. The Thorn Wedge can only be applied to one character besides her. So that one is pretty important. It basically gives her her counterattack. It applies over critical, she gains cover and resistances. So you want one of the Love series, whichever is the best one you have access to. That definitely needs to be on your toolbar. As for others, the one I've been using is Malediction. It improves critical damage of all party members by 25% and just regular damage for any weapon type. For herself and the character that has this Thorn Wedge concept, it's 50% instead of 25%, and it grants Link, which means that both characters kind of get an extra damage attack. In this case, it's a wind blunt attack. So I tend to favor this one as the next skill, and then something to spam during an AF gauge would probably be the last one. In most cases. There are some cases where I would use Cling Together, and I'll talk about that one later too. So let's take a look at the test dummy. So by herself, her presence alone inflicts rage, and it's persistent. It does not run out after like 3 turns or 5 turns or anything. So as long as she is around at the start of the fight, the enemy will basically be raging against her. If I use, when she is Stellar Awakened, by the way, she automatically casts Fated Love as well, so I don't have to use up a turn to do that. Otherwise, this would be the first skill I would use in the fight. The second skill, Malediction, improves party damage and gives the Link effect. And then the third skill is whatever she attacks with. So I have her Stellar Awakened skill. There's 1 stack of wind resistance. 2 stacks. You may notice some of the numbers here are orange. See if it happens again. Not this time, but in her second attack there was an orange number in there, and you've probably never seen that before. So she's did about 3 million damage by herself. Not too shabby. So what's the deal with that orange number? What's the deal with this Thorn Wedge? There's a lot of things that are a little confusing. So Thorn Wedge, let's grab, who should we grab? Let's grab Suzette.
Summon forth the darkness.
Yeah, sure. Okay, here we have Suzette. She's my only level 100 character. She is Stellar Awakened. She has her True Manifest, Guidance, all this stuff. Pain, Poison. Her Stellar board is not fully awakened. She's missing some health and MP, but otherwise she has all the stats. And skills, here we go. So, this Thorn Wedge thing, let's talk about it first. Thorn Wedge. When Fated Love is cast, Thorn Wedge is applied to the frontline character to the user's right. It applies over critical, and Suzette is to the right of Shanie. So she will be the target of the Thorn Wedge. You'll also see a little kind of heart-shaped thing right here. That is the Fated Love skill. Since she is Stellar Awakened, it's automatically cast. So if I cast Malediction, because Fated Love is already under effect, then all party members will improve their damage by 50%, their critical damage by 50%, because she is the target of Thorn Wedge. So what does Thorn Wedge do? 1/4 of the Thornbound Witch's luck stat is added to all of Suzette's stats. We know that her luck is 300, technically 301. If you divide that by 4, that means 75 points of power, of intellect, of endurance, speed, spirit, and luck are being applied to Suzette. So Suzette, right off the bat, has 75 extra power, which obviously will increase her damage. This 200, 300, 400 thing, don't worry too much about it. It's basically the cap level. If you have, like, you know, Fated Love or one of the previous loves, chances are you probably have the Fated Love, so the 400 is the one that applies. Basically, it's just saying that once your luck hits 400, 1/4 of 400 is 100, and that's where it stops. So you can give up to a maximum of 100 points of all stats to the target to the user's right. That, of course, makes Suzette way more powerful, and if you cast Malediction, it makes her even more powerful. It's preemptive, so it will go first. So you saw 3 attacks right there. Dragon Assault should have 2 attacks. The third one was that link effect, that blunt wind attack. So now, Fated Love and Malediction are in effect, so we can use Toad's Drid. We can still use Dragon Assault. There's that orange number, and there's an orange number. That's the overcritical. Right now, as of September 2024, as far as I'm aware, Alter Shanie is the only character that has this overcritical effect. And I'm not even sure if it shows up. Yeah, here it is. Overcritical. When physical critical rate is past 100%, you do occasionally higher physical critical damage than usual. So instead of critting and doing double damage, you do more than double damage. And the wiki, last I looked at the wiki, it's been a few days, the wiki says that if you can actually get your physical critical rate to 1000%, then it happens with every single damage. It happens all the time. So you see that nothing but orange. I'm not sure if that's completely true or not. But it does seem like the higher the critical rate is for both characters, the more often you do see that orange damage. So whether you have to reach 1000% or not, I don't know, but that's what the wiki says. So, alright, so we have 1 turn left of Link, we have 1 left of cover, 1 left of the overcritical. So this would be a good time, for example, to recast Fated Love if you were doing a real fight. She would just continue attacking, doing whatever it is she needs to do. There was some more orange damage. You'll notice that she took some damage here. Fated Love, this whole thorn thing, like in mini games, when you have some type of thorn effect, you do a lot more damage, but you hurt yourself in the process. And that is true in this game, at least for Alter Shanie. So, at the end of each turn, if the Thornbound Witch and ally are both present in the front line, the ally's hit point percentage becomes equal with the Thornbound Witch's hit points. So basically, if one character is hurt, they kind of balance each other out. Supposedly it's a 30% self-damage as well with Thorn Wedge. Doesn't mention that here, but the wiki mentions it. So, but I think the critical guard and the luck value affects it, because I've never seen her actually hurt herself for 30% of her hit points. It's usually much less. So I think the critical guard is actually reducing the self-inflicted damage as well. So anyway, that is kind of how this all works. You do Fated Love, you do Malediction, you attack 2 or 3 times, then you reapply Fated Love, reapply Malediction, attack 2 or 3 times, and that's kind of the general pattern that I find tends to work. If you don't need extra rage or other mechanics like the status immunities and everything. So let's finish this up. And with help, we just did 151 million instead of 3 million. Was that 151 million or was that 15 million? Didn't quite catch it. Either way, we did a lot more damage, but it was in part because we had a partner. Now, what I have noticed, it says it affects the character to the user's right. So what if Shanie is the farthest right? There's no one past her. Who gets Thorn Wedge? Or does anyone get Thorn Wedge?
You like that?
And what I've noticed, let's throw in just some random characters here. You two are random. When you have Shanie all the way to the right and there is no character to her right, the Thorn Wedge effect always seems to affect the character on the far left. See? So Suzette got it again. So we'll just have them punch, and Fated Love was automatically cast, so we'll do Malediction. Preemptive. Suzette attacks. Next turn, Suzette attacks. Both of these are in effect, so she can attack. You can see some orange numbers coming from her. You can see extra attacks coming from both her and Suzette, not the other characters. Turn 4, this little Thorn Wedge thing is about to go away, so Fated Love. Continue the attack. Oh, maybe it was 151 million. And then turn 5, I would do Malediction to rebuff that one. And the rest of the team continues to do their thing. All the while, the enemy has rage and is directing attacks toward Shanie. Yep, that was about 150 million. Nice. So that's the general pattern I've gotten used to. So let me show you how it works in a practical environment and not against a test dummy, because she does have a few more tricks when she's getting attacked. So to showcase Alter Shanie in a free team, I have Azami, Curio, 7, who's not technically free but a very common appearance character, and then Cyrus in the background. Alter Shanie is equipped the way we had her. Void Hammer, Grace Armlet stats badge, and then hit points basically, and a little bit of regen. Her luck is 300. Of the remaining characters, Azami is going to be our damage dealer. So we have given her her personal armor and weapon, a 25 power badge, and then she has Power of Agony, Power of Pain, and then a third Power of Pain. 2 are upgraded, one with Bullseye and one with Rose of with Thorns. The third one is not upgraded at all. We have these as her skills. Curio is more support. That's because his Transient Glory improves Power's Party and Intellect, and Katana users gain 50% damage, and when there's a zone, wind attacks gain 50% damage. He has Steadfast Melody, which restores a little bit of health if necessary and gives some physical resistance. And then he has Glimmer Strike as his spammable. It inflicts pain, and the speed of all party members increases. As far as gear, he has his personal weapon, a +3 tempered ring, because that's all I have, and a power +25 badge. Since he's support, you could give him some hit points as well. That's what I did with his grasta. All of his grasta give 300 health. None of them are upgraded. So he's gained 900 health from grasta, and then personal weapon, and pretty much store-bought armor and a simple power badge. And he has his Monarch Proof, which gives him an extra 300 health and 5 endurance. 7 has Miyake's Staff, kind of mid-game gear, improves his type attack and type resistance. He has a Sea Drake ring with a +1 for a little tiny bit of health and physical resistance. And he has a 300 health, 30 MP badge. He also has 3 grasta, each with a base of 300 health, giving him an extra 900 health there. You will also notice none of them are upgraded. He does have his true Valor Chant grasta, which gives him an extra 15 intellect and speed. For his skills, he has 4 slots open because I've pulled him so much. But the main ones, he has Monsoon, which will allow us to deploy a Wind King stance. It also heals party members if necessary, and it inflicts pain, ignoring target resistance. He has Dust Devil, which improves his magic damage based on his MP, not terribly important since he's not the primary damage dealer. And then for spammable, Rampage Gale is a wind-type magic attack. When there's another zone deployed, aka Wind Stance, it improves strength even further, and all weapon-type users will gain +40% damage for 3 turns. So that's the main team. We have Cyrus in the background, and he's there just to hold grasta. He has the Enhance if Max HP grasta, which improves damage by 30% for all katana users. Sound Body Katana, which gives all katana users 300 health and 50 mana. And Power of Gale Katana, which improves wind-type attacks for all katana users. All 3 of these are fairly easy to get around the mid-game area. And that's it. We have Toova in the background because we are going to fight her true manifest fight. As far as sidekicks, we only have 1. Iridian is free. He's a wind-type user. He heals. He restores mana a little tiny bit. It's improved a little bit with his personal gear. And when anything takes wind-type damage, their power and intellect decreases by 10%. That aura does affect my team, so if I'm fighting something that does wind damage, my characters will also lose 10% of their power and intellect. So, keep that in mind when you have these auras going. Anyway, we are going to showcase this basically free team featuring Shanie, Alter, with Toova's true manifest fight. Or max level, whatever you want to call it. This is the true manifest fight, the level 11 one. So, because Shanie is Stellar Awakened, Fated Love has already been cast, but if she wasn't, I would use Fated Love first, and that would link up with the far left character, since there's no one to her right, Azami. We are going to deploy Wind King Stance. We're going to go ahead and do a physical resistance and actually, you know what? We are going to just go ahead and inflict pain. We want to make sure that the Wind King Stance is active before we hit Transient Glory. And we could do a delayed wind attack or reduce wind resistance. So since we're going to inflict pain with Curio, we'll go ahead and reduce wind resistance on the first turn. Remember that Shanie's presence alone, Rage is already on Toova. So when Shanie is attacked, she has a counterattack. You may have noticed just right then and there. The counterattack, once we get to the status bar, every time she's hit, she counters, and the counter reduces power, intellect, and speed and stacks up to 3 times, which is a nice thing to have when you're a tank. So anyway, second turn, Malediction. We have our wind zone going, so we could go ahead and Rampage Gale now. That will improve critical and damage by 40% for all weapon type users. We'll use Transient Glory, which will improve damage for katana users and wind users, since we're in a wind zone. And to see the effects of it, we can use Petalfall, which is a delayed wind attack, or we can use Fierce Gale. So, kind of depends on what we're feeling like doing. Let's go ahead and Fierce Gale. Alright. So here on the third turn, she can now attack with whatever attack skill you have. He can go ahead and Rampage Gale again. We can Glimmer Strike. We can kind of do whatever we want with him. And we'll Fierce Gale Slash. You'll see the zombie now hit the HP stopper and did a lot of damage. Turn 4, Fated Love. Keep that buff going. We will continue the assault, so Rampage Gale, Glimmer Strike. Actually, we should probably go ahead and redo Pain just to make sure. That's 5 turns, so... And we will continue with the Fierce Gale Slash attacks. She continues to counterattack, and now she is fully debuffed. Just for fun, we could do Petalfall this turn. We'll go ahead and rebuff Transient Glory. We just did that, so we'll go ahead and continue Rampaging Gale, and we will rebuff Malediction. One issue with the free team, as you notice, is that her mana, her MP, is staying pretty low. So we will attack, attack, attack. Her counterattacks continue to keep her damage output very low. We'll go ahead and attack, attack, attack. And we'll just let her sit and regen a little bit. We hit the second HP stopper. Actually, I guess I made one slight mistake. I have the save option set up here. That would be why I'm thinking she's hammer slamming and she's not. So, alright, so let's take a look. We have Pain. We have all the stacks. We can blow the AF gauge. We'll do our 3s to re-inflict Pain, rebuff, and we can Petalfall if we want to. Doesn't really matter. So we could reduce wind resistance, so we'll just do 2, 3, 3. We'll rebuff 2, and then we'll rebuff Malediction, and then Toadstrebe the rest of the time. And then we'll pretty much spam all 1s from that point forward. We don't need those. And we've already cast Fastening Edge. So 2, 3, 3, 2, and then all 1s, and if we can work in a Malediction, we will. 2, 3, 3, 2, all 1s, Malediction, and now just pretty much spam, spam, spam. The boss has been defeated. There never was really much danger to the team, as you noticed, and this, remember, is the true Manifest fight. Thanks to Alter Shanie's counterattacks, the boss was continuously reduced in intellect, and her main attack was magic-type attacks. And we had the Wind Zone going, and we had pretty much Azami doing good. So that is an example of how a free team can work together. So now let's look at how Alter Shanie can be used in a more advanced situation. Actually, before that, we're going to showcase one issue that she has with her rage. Before I get into the advanced team, I did want to show something about the rage mechanic. So at the start of the fight, she applies rage on everything, and it's irresistible. So you might think, oh great, no big deal. So we're going to go ahead and do our usual thing. In fact, I wonder if I should just go ahead and blow the AF gauge right now. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll do Depravity, the Knocked, and Malediction, and pretty much spam Crusher Blow for most of it. And we'll spam all 1s. Alright, so here we have the boss. You kill all of its ads, arms, whatever you want to say. So everything seems to be going great. We'll do Magical Smash, we'll do Benocked, and Cling Together, and Twin Blade.
Listen, these are the cries of the restless.
If you fight an enemy that has ads that appear, or it regrows its arms, something like that, as we wait. Because it's not the start of the fight, now you'll notice Rage is only on the main boss. Rage is not on the newly regrown arms, or the ads, or whatever. If you don't equip Cling Together, the only other way to do Rage is to have her leave and come back to apply her Valor Chant. So on fights where you may need to do Rage, basically when you have ads and so forth, you probably need to seriously consider using Cling Together as your other option. Now, Rage is on all of the ads, and everything will be redirected towards her once again. Of course, if your team is strong enough, not a big deal. But let's face it, there's many times where an enemy will have ads, and you want to make sure that rage stays on them. So let's go ahead and finish up this fight. I'm not going for any type of a perfect score. It's the last turn of Wind King, so we'll save Twin Blade Wolf. We'll do Magical Smash again. We'll do Athdalkus. And we can probably do Fated Love. So let's go ahead and blow the AF guard. Actually, I wonder if this would be a good chance to show off. Oh, I didn't equip the Stellar Awakening skill because I was doing Cling Together. Okay, we'll show off Burst in another example. So here we'll just go ahead and Crusher Blow, Dark Drill, Been Knocked, Malediction. So 1, 3, or 2 and 3, and then all ones. 1, 1, 2, 3, all ones. Towards the end, we will Twin Blade. Alright, let's Twin Blade now.
These are the cries of the voiceless.
All those fun little overcritical numbers. So yeah, plan accordingly if the enemy is going to have ads pop in the middle of the fight. Find a way to engage the rage. Let's see how I did. I wasn't really trying that hard. Probably did not beat my previous high score. Oh no, that was very sad. That's my best right now. Okay, moving on. For an advanced team featuring Shanie Alter, since she's a wind user, Sesta kind of sort of has to be the star of the show, and then the team is, of course, built around Sesta. This is my Wind Super Boss team. I've finally replaced Soira AS with Shanie because I like the extra damage that she allows Sesta to do. So let's take a look at it. Sesta is equipped with the Elpis Dagger, which as of September 2024 is still pretty much the best weapon to use against super bosses. The overthrow mechanic is far superior to anything that's come since the Elpis was released. We have the Dryad's Ring, which improves her critical strength. And I just gave her a plus 40 power badge. You can kind of give her whatever you want. Vitality badge, things like that are great. Power of Agony and Pain and Windburned Pain. One with Bullseye, one with Rose with Thorns, and Windburn just simply has to be activated. So basically, pain-related grasta for Sesta. Melody is great for keeping an awakened wind zone going. She has the Enduring Staff, which doesn't really do much other than give her an MP regen. Oriental Ring, improving her resistances. HP plus Speed Halved Badge to give her 2,000 extra health. Her Depravity skill happens to be preemptive, so it doesn't matter that her speed is reduced, in my opinion. And since she is a support character, I just have things that give her health and or that gives her health. One of them is Enhance if max HP wind. It improves damage by 10% for all wind users when they're at max health. So the idea is Sesta should try to stay at max health, which is a little more difficult with Shanie and her Thorn Wedge, so that particular grasta may or may not be super helpful. We have Yifa, who is also geared to have survivability, so Kawaii Weight, which gives her extra health. Ujima Bangle, which decreases damage the longer the fight goes. She relies heavily on Spirit, so I gave her a 40 Spirit badge, and then she has 2 grasta, each with 300 health, each with ore that gives 300 more health, and then she has Sound Body Hammer. All hammer users get an extra 300 health and 50 mana. It's not only helping Yifa, but Shanie Alter. They're both hammer users, so she's getting an extra 300 health thanks to Yifa. Shanie is geared the exact same way as she was in mid-game. Grace Armlet, Stats Badge, Void Hammer, and the 3 grasta that all give her health. If you want her to do more damage, probably the Elpis Hammer would make the most sense with its overthrow mechanic, and it still has 100% critical rate. But it's not necessary. Cesta's the one doing the damage. For the back row, we wanted to beef up Cesta, so we have Katana-related grasta. And Tome has Power of Awakening, Almighty Power Avenger, because both he and Cesta are Avengers. And he has Sound Body Katana to give Cesta a little extra health as well. Sidekicks are my usual Tetra and Guns. Tetra for the heals and his aura. When people go below a certain percentage of health, they gain more health, mana, and resistances. And Guns, when I'm below the AF gauge, all party members' stats go up by 20%. That's particularly important because that means Shanie's luck will go up by 20%, so she'll gain 60 luck from that alone. It also means that Yifa's spirit goes up 20%, so she gains a little more than 50 more spirit. And Yifa has a faith mechanic. She can choose one character on the team to grant faith, and if she faiths that character, half of her spirit is added to all of her stats. So if her spirit is 300, for example, that means Shanie's stats, all of them, would go up by 150, half of her spirit. So not only would power and intellect and stuff go up by 150, her luck would jump from 300 to 450. And if Guns' aura is in effect, that means Shanie's luck could cap out fairly easily at 500. So that's kind of the decisions for the sidekick and sub-sidekick. With Guns and with Faith, Shanie could easily hit the 500 luck cap, which means, this is all like how the game is getting more and more complicated, this Thorn Wedge, which if you remember, 1/4 of her luck is applied to other stats. Once her luck hits 400, we've capped it out. Once her luck is all the way at 500, the next time I cast Fated Love, that means Cesta's stats all improve by 100. And that's on top of the bonus that she gets from Guns. So Guns would boost her power by 20%, so by 60 more, so it'd be 360, and then she'd gain 100 from Fated Love. So her power would be 460, making her attack power pretty much around 700, which for Cesta, that's just ridiculous. Now, Yifa could always faith Cesta instead, and that's usually the more common route, but I'm just telling you kind of the mechanics. So why don't we take this quite lethal team out for a spin? To showcase this team, we are going to fight the Warped Final Calamity in Arat Village. I have no counterattack equipment that's been upgraded.
Cesta will tear you to bits.
So the very first thing we're going to do is blow the AF gauge so we can get Guns' aura going, and that will improve her faith skill, and that will also improve the luck bonus that she will give Cesta. So to prep up, we are going to Depravity. We're going to go ahead and Othdocus, Malediction. She's going to crush her blow the whole time. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and just do all 3s followed by all 2s. We'll try and make it nice and simple. In her case, we've already cast 2 by virtue of her being Stellar Awakened and at the start of the fight, so if I can, I'll try to switch over to 1. So Crusher Blow, 3, 3, 3, and Crusher Blow, 2, 2, 1, and then all 1s. 3, 3, 3, Crusher Blow, 2, Malediction, 2, Crusher Blow, and all 1s. Now, had I been a little bit smarter, I probably would have done worked in a Twin Blade Wolf there, but You can see that Alter Shanie took all the attacks and she's counterattacked, so already on the first turn, his strength, intelligence, and speed have all been debuffed tremendously. Now, thanks to Alter Shanie, you'll see that Sesta is not at full health, so all the enhance at max HP grasta that I might have equipped aren't taking effect right now. So keep that in mind when you prep up your team. So we're going to go ahead and Twin Blade Wolf. We are going to Dark Drill. We are going to Benacht. And at this point, we've cast both of those, so we could do Fated Love again. Actually, we're not going to Benacht, we're going to Faith. So the question is, if you need defense, Faith, Alter Shanie. If you need offense, go ahead and Faith your offensive character. So in this case, we're going to Faith Sesta. We're going to recast Fated Love because now, because her luck is up, she can give more stats to Sesta. And we already have her wind debuff on the enemy.
Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
So Sesta now has the benefit of probably close to about 200 more power, as well as 200 more endurance, spirit, luck, speed, etc. And because Sesta is the one that is faithed, that means when I cast Benacht Biwa, Sesta's damage, power, are all and type attack are all increased by 100%, and this is preemptive. We're going to go ahead and do another Depravity, just to make sure that those debuffs last. We've recast Fated Love, so we could redo Malediction, or we could rebuff or re-debuff with Toadstrebe. And she's going to Twin Blade Wolf because that's what she always does. We have 2 turns left of the wind zone.
There. Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
And Barrier Piercing. We saw we hit damage cap. He removed the wind zone, but we have a Melody AS. So all we have to do is wait a moment and we will get the wind zone back. In the meantime, we will go ahead and Malediction. We will... Oh, this might be a good time to show off Toadstrebe. Normally I do a separate one, but let's talk about that. We have the Stellar Burst. Toadstrebe, in Stellar Burst, she does a pretty damaging attack, and she grants Barrier Pierce not only to myself, but the frontline ally with Thorn Wedge. So in this case, that would be Sesta. It is only for 1 move, so that means if I do Crusher Blow, the first Crusher Blow attack will be Barrier Piercing, the others will not be. So, you know, keep that in mind. So we are going to go ahead and we'll save that one for a little bit. We'll Toadstrebe, we will Roar, we will Dark Drill, and we will Crusher Blow. She has no mana thanks to that, so we'll have to wait on her. Hammer Slam and a Roar. We will Dark Drill again. Crusher Blow again. And here's our Awakened Zone thanks to Melody AS. Alright, 1. So that means it is Twin Blade Wolf time. what we can do is go ahead and showcase Toadstrebe. She's going to do a wind attack, and she is going to grant barrier piercing to both herself and to Sesta. It would be a lot stronger if her health was declining. Unfortunately, this team is so strong, it does a pretty good job of keeping their health up.
I'll give you everything I got.
Now, the Toadstrebe attack is not barrier piercing. Her next move would be, at this point, which she's going to barrier pierce with a hammer slam, apparently, since we have no mana. We will go ahead and Benoct. We have pain on the enemy, so we can either Dark Drill or Magical Smash. We'll go ahead and Magical Smash. Actually, let's Dark Drill. Sesta, remember, has the benefit of 200 extra speed, so pretty much unless you cast a preemptive ability, none of the others are going to go off first. So she will, of course, Twin Blade Wolf.
Testify. Listen. These are the cries of the voiceless.
And here she goes. So Shanie Alter definitely made this fight pretty smooth.
You didn't mind me being here.
And that is
right?
a way that this team works well together. Between Yifa and Shanie Alter, they can basically grant 200 extra stats to any character, which, as you could see with Sesta, is quite powerful. Well, guys and gals, that is pretty much the Shanie Alter video, character development. Main things: when you equip her gear, try to give her something that gives her 100% critical rating, or make sure that your buffs keep that physical crit rate as high as possible. Once she hits 100%, she will always reduce damage based on her luck. And on the note of luck, try to give her gear that improves her luck. The higher the better. And then if you have characters like Yifa who can improve luck even further, then she becomes even more unkillable. As far as Grasta, I tend to prefer giving her hit points. If you want to make her into a damage dealer, you would probably want to go with the pain route. That still seems to be the best route for all characters. It reduces her health a lot, but then at the same time, you saw in that super boss fight, she didn't really take that much damage. And that's partially due to the critical guard. As far as skills, Fated Love pretty much should be on your list at all times. I like Malediction because it improves your damage dealers that much more and grants them a link attack, which will burn through barriers a lot quicker as well. I'm not sure if you noticed during the Warped Final Calamity, but when he hit his HP stopper and reformed his barrier, we were chewing through it pretty quickly with all the attacks. I like her Stellar skill for her third skill. However, at the same time, keep in mind those fights where there might be adds, you might want to Cling Together on your skill list. And in situations where you might want Status Immunity 3 times and Cyclone Wind Immunity 3 times, you might want My Solace as one of your skills. So, know what you're getting into and plan accordingly. And if she is all the way on the right, then she defaults and grants the Thorn Wedge to the character in the far left. Otherwise, Thorn Wedge will always go to the character to her immediate right. So when you're placing your characters, take that into consideration. I think that's about it. She is an awesome character to have. I kind of did a YOLO pull. Normally, I have regular Shanie, so I could have saved up the opuses and just side graded her and gone through all the All Cosmos star charts. But I had some extra stones, and I figured, you know what? Why not? Let's just give it a whirl. And she came home, and I blew lots and lots of Luring Shadows to get her up to 50. And I stopped there. I don't feel that the extra 10 luck and extra MP would be nice. You saw that several fights she was running low on mana, so that mana issues might be an issue, but overall, even just her 30 points, getting her stellar skills, getting her abilities, giving her hold ground. As long as wind shade characters in the front, she stores up shadow power. And during the stellar burst, type resistance for all party members improves till the end of the turn. That one, not terribly important. If you need, what I tend to do when I have very limited choices, I'll go ahead and get the max levels and usually skip whatever this ability chain is here. Sometimes I'll get the first one and whatever follows it, but instead of spending 3 points on this one, I'll spend 2 points getting their levels going from 80 to 90, because that gives me way more stats. And really, does type resistance until the end of one turn that stellar bursts really matter? Yeah, not that often. So if you're short on points, maybe consider getting her to at least level 90 instead of 80, and maybe skipping that one. Anyway, I hope this gives you a better idea on how to use her and how to incorporate her. She works best with Wind Team. Technically, she is a Shade character as well, so I'm sure she could probably be used as a Shade tank. But aside from Wind and Shade, maybe a Blunt Team would work for her, being that she is a Blunt user as well. But definitely her skills are geared more towards Wind than anything, so she probably shines best with a Wind Team. If you have Sesta, definite pairing right there, no questions asked. Anyway, I hope this helps. Casual Crono, signing out.